friends, welcome to this video. Today we're talking about little tips and tricks and things that I think are useful to know for doing a street fair and how to be successful. I've done a few at this point, and I would say my first few I did okay, but as I've done them, the better I've got at them and the more successful that I've been, and the less stressful it is once you figure out some things that you need to do. So the first thing is your products. Obviously, this is really important in doing a street fair, convention, farmer's market, whatever, any of those realm of events. You gotta have good products. But aside from that, you also want to have products at a variety of price points. You can't, you can. You can have a bunch of super expensive things and hope that if you sell one or two, you'll cover your booth cost. But what I find to be really helpful in order to be able to market to all different audiences is to have items that are kind of on the cheap end, kind of middle, and then high, because you'll just draw more people in. So I have buttons that are 50 cents each, and that kind of draws in maybe the kids or the parents, where they can get something cute and small, but they don't have to spend a lot of money for it. I have stickers for $2.50, and then I have lanyards for $7, keychains for $10 to $12, something like that. I have prints for $4 to $8, and then usually some originals that are obviously more expensive, but it gives people an option. And when you're selling art, I think options are good. People want to support you if they really like your work, but they can't always afford to buy some really expensive original, and so they'll opt for maybe a sticker. The next thing is to know your audience and know the event and know what sells well. So obviously if you are going to a fine art event, that's more what you're going to bring. So when I do street fairs, I bring some things like dirty pours and stuff like that, but I would never take that to a convention because it's just not the vibe, if you do a convention, typically you're going to bring more of your fan art stuff. So you're going to bring different art, just kind of depending on the context of the event that you are doing. Another thing to be aware of is if you do need to order anything like business cards, display signs, or if you outsource making pins or keychains, washi tapes, whatever, make sure you have more than enough time to get it in. If something says it's going to take a month to get to you, try to give it a month and a half to 2 months if you can. I know it's not always possible, but it's really helpful. That way, if there's a shipping delay or something goes wrong and it's misprinted and you need to reorder, you have enough time to actually get that done. I have had 2 events a month apart, and I ran out of keychains and had to order, and I got my keychains literally 3 days before the next event. So it was kind of stressful. So try not to stress yourself out like that. Try to do everything in advance. The next thing is your setup, your display. One thing to really keep in mind about displaying your items is to keep it visually interesting. Not only do your items need to be interesting, but the way that they're put in the viewer's eyes needs to be interesting. So try to set things up in different layers. You don't want all of your display pieces to be the same height because that's really boring. You want maybe a tall thing and then a short thing and then a medium thing because it has that nice diversity. You also don't want to do tall, medium, short. You want it staggered, if that makes sense. Odd numbers also are key to this. It looks a lot better if you have 3 of something versus 2. I previously worked at a pharmacy where I helped set up displays. It was something I learned, and it just is visually more interesting. Also, place items according to the flow of traffic. This might mean that you set up your display one way and then you find that the flow of traffic can't flow through your booth very well, and then you move things around for the next day or halfway through the day or something. But one thing I noticed at one of my events is that my buttons get a lot of attention and my stickers get a lot of attention. And they're both areas where people will kind of sit and hover and look through stuff for a while. And so I put them at opposite ends of my table. That way I can have a crowd here looking at buttons and a crowd here looking at stickers. Versus if they're right next to each other, I'm only allowed to have one crowd looking at both, which means that people over here that maybe want to look over here can't. They're stuck. And if people can't look at something within a minute or two, they're probably going to leave. And they might say in their head, oh, I'll come back and look. They might not. They might run out of time. They might spend their money somewhere else. So try to evaluate where people are sitting at your booth for extended periods of time and kind of break it up so that you don't have everybody at one spot. Another thing that helps your booth look nice is to be cohesive. And this doesn't mean everything needs to be in the same color, but kind of like choose a vibe, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of products that are kind of in the like pastel pinks, blues, those kinds of colors. So I got crates from Amazon that kind of have similar colors. And then I have some things that are white. I keep all my stuff kind of bright pastel white. That is my vibe. I don't really know how to explain it, but I have like key colors that I use. If you are someone who likes monotones, maybe stick to like all black and white or all white and gray or white and black or, you know, whatever, but kind of choose something that looks cohesive and that melds together so that when people look at your booth, the entire booth is pleasing to look at. If your booth has a good vibe and people like that vibe, they will come over to your booth regardless of your product, just because they think your booth looks cool. So even if they don't buy something, you're drawing people in simply because your booth looks good. And then once they're at your booth, maybe they'll buy something. One thing I do want to say is that your displays do not have to be expensive. You do not have to buy laser cut wood pieces to display stickers like I have over there. I bought those after doing events for like 3 years. Do I need them? No, but I like them, and I eventually earned enough money from previous events that I decided to get them. What you could do is get a pin board from Michaels and glue or nail on some wood so it can stand up and use thumbnails to put your stickers up. And that is what I did for the longest time. I DIY'd pretty much my entire display when I first started. And then as I kept going, each event that I did, I kind of modified or bought like 1 or 2 items that I thought would elevate my display. I bought a like wood crate and then I painted it white so it would fit my vibe more. There's a lot you can do with DIY. You do not have to buy expensive displays. If you want to display stickers or prints, you can get like a nail polish display and use that. Like there are so many alternatives that are cheaper. You just have to be kind of inventive. If you go on like Pinterest and stuff, you can get a lot of inspiration. Another really helpful thing is to have a banner or some sort of display that has your name on it and like, again, a cute image that kind of goes with your vibe. And bonus points if your business card and that sign have the same picture on it. Because if somebody has your business card and they're trying to find your booth again and they're running around, if they see a really big picture of what's on the business card, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to find you. Another thing is to be aware of the event's requirements. Some of them will require you to have a specific tablecloth or a specific type of canopy or, you know, whatever. So just make sure you read the fine print and know exactly what they want. I have never had an issue with this. I have seen people not follow the rules and I don't think anything come of it, but it's always better to stay in the coordinator's good graces so that you'll be welcome back the next year. Another really helpful thing to do is to do a mock setup. So if you've never set up your canopy before, try setting it up at home and make sure you know how to do it. If you have a corner booth, make sure you know how you're going to put your tables and how you're going to display all your stuff. And then be flexible, because when you get to the event, things might not be the way that you expected. Not my last event, but the one before that, I knew that I was going to have a 10 by 10 canopy space, but I thought it was only going to be single-sided, and I ended up with a corner booth, which meant I had this wall open and this wall open. So instead of just having one table, I ended up having a table here and a table here and setting up all my items like that. You might also find that the flow of traffic goes a different direction than you were intending, and you want your like high visibility items to be facing the way that people are walking a lot. So just be prepared to know what you want and then change it up a little on the day of. The next thing is payments. I would recommend having the option to take cash or card payments. So get a Square reader. They are free to get, the ones that just swipe and plug into your phone or iPad or whatever. So get that. If you want, you can get the ones that tap or insert, but you do have to pay a little bit more. Also have cash. You can manage your cash through Square as well if you would like. I usually have at least $100 in cash to start. So like, as like an idea, I would try to have like 120, 2 10s, 5 5s, 25 ones, $10 roll of quarters, $5 roll of dimes, $2 roll of nickels, 2 50-cent rolls of pennies, and that's about $108. And then you can kind of see what you run out of more and what you might need more of for the next event. But just make sure you have ample cash, especially things like pennies, because a lot of these events take place over the weekend and you won't always be able to make your way to a bank. Another really helpful sales tactic is to have sales. So I have buttons that are 50 cents, but if you buy 5, you get them for $2. So basically you're just getting one button for free, but do little things like that. It'll get people to buy more of your products. Also, once you're in the event, start advertising it, especially if you have a large social media account. Start saying that you're going to be at events and stuff like that. I have a small account and not many people follow me, but I still have had friends or family come and support me and come say hi. And honestly, it's really nice to like see a familiar face in the midst of crazy busy events. And then it's also just good publicity for that event in general. Okay, so then just some other general random things that might be helpful is have business cards that have your info. Have business cards, very helpful. Have cute business cards. You can do ones where there's like a cute picture on one side and then all your info on the back. People love it because it's like a mini piece of art. You can also have a QR code. Just Google a QR code generator and create one that will take people to your Instagram account or website or wherever, and people will scan it while they're walking by and follow you. I think that's how I get a lot of Instagram follows. Some people will look it up from the card, but the QR code is just so much easier and faster. Also have hand sanitizer. You're touching people's cash. COVID is still a thing. Just have hand sanitizer for you and the people that visit your booth. Also make sure you have everything printed before the event. A lot of times there is like a parking pass you need to print or whatever. Just make sure you read your approval email and that you have all the stuff you need. Also, have external batteries. This is one of the most helpful things. If you are using your phone or iPad or whatever to take payments, at some point it might die, especially if you're browsing Instagram or Facebook or whatever on your phone during your downtime. Your phone might eventually start to die, so bring a backup battery so you can charge your stuff. I've never had a problem with Square dying. I usually just charge it at the end of the day. And make sure everything has a full charge the day before. So usually if the event's Friday, or if the event's Saturday, Friday night, I charge everything that night. And then in the morning, I'm good to go. I would also say bring a sketchbook and something to draw with, or a switch or a book, or something to do when it's slow. Some events, you'll be busy the entire time and you won't have this problem. Other events, you might have an hour or two where you're just sitting and doing nothing. So if you bring something for you to do, it's kind of helpful. I have also found sometimes that sketching in a sketchbook is a good way to start conversations with other people. Sometimes people walking by will see you sketching and they'll be interested, so they'll come over and talk to you or look at your stuff. I have also pressed buttons at events before because I can bring my stuff with me and I was running out of buttons and people find that fascinating. So it's also another way to bring people to you, but it's good to keep you entertained if you start getting bored. Anyway, those are all my tips. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!